you. Okay, what will my presentation be about? Actually, you do not know me, so I present myself. I am a professor here at Sapienza University, and I am a professor of statistics. So my expertise is on statistics, and the general idea was to provide you throughout this presentation with some facts, facts as emerged from the European Commission about the next generation EU. So the idea is to give you a statistical perspective on next generation EU. You already received a lot of information, accurate information from Vanni. Some of the things that you already heard, I'm going to repeat them, but the idea is to provide you with some figures, or I would better say with some graphical representation of what's going on with next generation EU in Europe. Most of my presentation is based on what I found in this official website, which is from the European Commission, as you can see, and it is called the Scoreboard of Recovery and Resilience. So I invite you to visit it and, you know, surf around this website because it gives you a lot of interesting information. Okay, so let's move back to the presentation. And I hope you can see my screen. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Okay, so you already heard this, I bet, several times today, but Next Generation EU is basically a spend plan, a huge one, because it's approximately 800 billion euros in current prices, and it is aimed to boost the recovery from the pandemic. And the idea is to, I mean, this is the words of the Commission. So build a greener, more digital, and more resilient future. It is rooted around 6 pillars, and the first two, mean green and digital, are all over the place. Every time you turn around or you open TV, you hear about green transition and digital transformation. And as Vanni showed us, these two pillars are actually the most important, also in terms of the amount of money put on them. So the idea is to boost the green transition through the promotion of renewable energies and sustainable mobility. The second pillar is about the digital transformation. And again, the idea is to boost the digital transformation through the digitalization of public services, mainly. There is also other 4 pillars about the reinforcement of social infrastructure and services, enhancing the access to advanced education, support the inclusive growth, research and development, and then ensure a modern and efficient healthcare services. Okay, first pillar, make it green. Okay, as we all know, the idea in Europe is to become carbon neutral by 2050, which is basically one day ahead from today. It's a very short period of time. And Next Generation EU is an occasion of doing that, because the idea is to allocate a huge amount of money into environmentally friendly technologies, and to boost the green vehicles and public transportation, the green public transportation. Furthermore, and you probably already know that, another important idea is to make our buildings efficient under the energy point of view. And if you maybe already know, but I think it was maybe the day before yesterday, but it was approved, the final plan for doing that, a final bill. So now all the European countries should include that bill in our own legislation. Okay, so where are we referring with the first pillar? On the right side of the screen, as you can see, you have a pie chart, and this pie chart divides the milestones and targets by their status. And by status, I mean those who were already fulfilled and those who are still not fulfilled. And as you can see, overall, I mean, for all European countries, the vast majority of milestones and targets are not yet fulfilled. Vanni explained us the importance of investments and reforms. And as you can see, for the first pillar, we have a lot of investments, almost 2,500 investments, which are very difficult to prove that they were done. And as Vanni told us, it's difficult because basically you have to do the investments, and that would show the accomplishment of the milestone or of a target. And we also have approximately 800, a little bit less, of reforms for the first pillar. Inside each pillar, there are some policy areas, and as you can see, but we somehow already, this is not a surprise, the expenditure, most of the expenditures, approximately 50%, are allocated in energy efficiency and sustainable mobility. It follows the investments and expenditures on renewable energies and networks. The second pillar, so make it digital, the digital transformation, is the idea is to promote the rollout of very high capacity networks, the digitalization of public services and government processes, and also the digitalization of businesses, in particularly small and medium enterprises. This is because the idea is that there is a problem with small and medium enterprises in Europe, and the problem is that they are less productive than big enterprises. So the idea is to digitalize them, and so that they can, increase their productivity. Of course, along with all this, it is necessary to develop the basic and advanced digital skills for the people. Note that this pillar is so important to the Commission that each member state must dedicate at least 20% of its recovery and resilience plan's total allocation to measures contributing to the digital transition. Okay, where are we referring to the second pillar? Well, pretty much at the same level that we were with the first pillar. So most of the milestones and targets are not fulfilled yet. Of course, we still have time, but all the countries are somehow running a little bit late. Again, this pillar has a lot of investments and reforms to be accomplished, almost 2,000 investments and a little bit more than, around 600 reforms. So it's a very complicated measure. Okay, the expenditure where they were allocated. Well, the vast majority was allocated on the e-government and the digitalization of public services, along with the digitalization of businesses. Third pillar, now we are moving to something which is, of course, important, but not as much as the first two. And when I say important, I mean in terms of the budget allocated there. So the idea is to make the economies more resilient and competitive in a way that we can enable sustainable recovery. There are measures to promote smart, sustainable, and inclusive growth. And as you can see, when we say smart, somehow, again, we have in mind something digital. Development and innovation and support the small and medium enterprises. So again, in the third pillar, of course, we have also something that is connected with the second pillar. This is, of course, normal. And where are we? Again, more or less at the same place. The vast majority, 82%, of milestones and targets are not fulfilled. And this pillar, again, is complicated too, because we have around 2,000 investments and 1,000 and approximately 300 reforms to be accomplished. Where the expenditures were allocated, well, here the competitiveness is the voice which is the most important, followed by to the support to small and medium enterprises. And the third position is related to the building renovation. So remember that it is important for the European Union to have buildings which are efficient under the energetic point of view. Fourth pillar, social and territorial cohesion. The idea here is to put in place reforms and investment that contribute to improve the social and territorial infrastructure and services, including social protection and welfare systems, the inclusion of disadvantaged groups, support employment and skills development. There is maybe someone who would like to ask something, because I can hear that there is an open microphone. Okay. Where are we? Well, here we are even more behind because 86% of the milestones and targets were not fulfilled. Again, it is a measure very complicated with a lot of investments and a lot of reforms. The expenditures that were made were allocated practically mostly on territorial infrastructures and services. Pillar 5, health. Health, economics, social and institutional resilience. The idea was to improve the resilience, the accessibility, and the quality of health. Of course, this was before because we were very much traumatized by the COVID-19 pandemic. Where are we? Far behind. Well, when I say we, I mean all the European countries, not Italy. We are far behind because 86% of milestones and targets are not fulfilled yet. The two voices where the expenditure were mostly allocated is the healthcare and the effectiveness of public administration. The sixth and last pillar is related to the policies for the next generation. And here the idea is to boost the digital education, early childhood education and care, and youth employment support. Well, same things to say. We are far behind. 83% of milestones and targets are not fulfilled. This kind of measure, the pillar 6, are a little bit easier because we have a lower amount of investments and reforms. Okay, let's now have a quick look at the countries, and then we will move to Italy. So this graph provides you with an overview of the actions, and by that I mean the investment and reforms by country. So as Vanni explained to us, each country in its own plan has a certain amount of investment and reforms. And here you can see the distribution of it. Starting from the left, we have Denmark, then France, Germany, Portugal, and then Italy. Here we are. In blue, you have investments. So remember, the most difficult to prove. And in red, we have the reforms. And when I say difficult to prove, remember, keep in mind that Next Generation EU is a performance-based plan, meaning that you get the money if you prove to perform well. Okay, so the country which has the higher percentage of investments to make is Denmark. Let's say that almost 90% of its actions are investments. And then once you move from the left to the right, we have a lower amount of investment and a higher amount of reforms. So in this sense, for example, Malta is the country which is more, with the lower composition of investment and reforms. I was quite, I should say, surprised when I navigated in the website that I've shown you, and I was curious about what are the other countries doing about their their next generation EU plans. And I took the biggest, uh, the first five biggest economy in Europe. The first one is Germany, the second is France, Italy, Spain, and the Netherlands. And when I say biggest economy, of course, I mean by their GDP. And then I wanted to see, okay, I know that in Italy, next generation EU is a big plan. In fact, almost 200 billion euros are allocated in Italy. But what about the other countries? And I was pretty much, I would say, surprised that the other countries, I mean, as you can see, they did not, um, how to say, they did not used their recovery plan so much as did Italy and Spain. And as you can see, for example, Germany, which is the biggest economy in Europe in terms of GDP, they only used 28 billions of euros, of course, among divided by grants and loans. Okay, so it appeared to me that Italy and Spain were the two largest economy in Europe who decided to make the recovery plan big. Okay, then a focus on Italy. Italy, as we said, allocated almost 200 billions of funds, which is approximately 10% of its GDP. And the distribution between grants and loans is represented in this pie chart. So as we can see, the loans are the vast majority of the fund, 63% versus 37% of grants. But where are we? So now we focus on Italy. Are we so much far behind as we already see for before? Now, if we group all the pillars together, I have to say that Italy is not so far behind compared to the pictures that I've showed you before, because we fulfilled almost 1/3 of the milestones and targets. And we have 70% left to go. Well, of course, you can say me, well, but 70% is a lot. And you're right, of course. But if we compare ourselves to the general framework, to the general picture, then we are not doing so badly. Distribution, this graph shows you the distribution of the funded project per pillar. So here, this is, I think it's quite interesting because, as you know, each country present a project. Well, they present several projects, and each project refer to a certain pillar. And as you can see here, you have the five most important pillars. And in Italy, the projects funded are mainly concentrated on the pillar, on the social pillar. And this tells us that Italy needs mostly investment on the social pillar. Of course, it follows the digital and the green one, and these two, remember, are for the European Union the most important one. But in terms of number of funded projects, so the number, not the expenditure, but the number of funded projects, Italy presented project that refers to the social pillar. And I mean, I think this is quite interesting. Okay, which are the most say areas of funded projects? Well, as you can see, the highest percentage of funded projects refer to school and projects aimed at helping people with disabilities. So autonomy patterns for people with disabilities. Let's say that almost half of the funded projects belong to these two categories. Another thing that I found very interesting is this one, high-speed railways. So we presented project aim at funding high-speed railways. And this is something that we know. We know because when we travel in Italy, we know that we have a lot of problems with our railways, especially in the south. So if you travel in the south, you know that, I mean, railways are not so, well, they're not at the top position, okay? So this is something that emerged clearly from the funded projects.